Carter Star. I built a foundation for the city. I helped build City Hall from what it was from the ground up. I helped review the first police chief that entered, which none other than Cody. I helped write a $600,000 proposal with one of our council members to help funding for our police departments. When your city, when our city contract with none other than Benny's went through the door because of decisions being made by certain individuals within the office, I had to go and fix it on my own personal time. Because nobody else would, and nobody else would speak to those individuals or those businesses while they struggle to keep afloat, or for that matter, just continue to do what they need to be doing. While others chase side jobs, like other jobs around the state, I stuck with the city. I was the only thing that I did was make sure the city was running smoothly. Yes, I'm broke. I have one job, but that's for the people. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. When I told the mayor I was running, not against him, but for the city, I was met with yelling, blame, and threats. He told me I backstabbed him, told me to resign. He read my he used my private calls against me. And he spun a narrative of an internal memo like it was the problem. If I'm standing up and fighting for the city makes me a problem, maybe the problem isn't me. Let's be real. Some people would rather cling to power than serve with purpose. Some folks, they threaten others behind closed doors just to keep their title. That ends with me. I've spoken to business owners who barely pay their staff. I've spoken to citizens frustrated with their restrictions within the city, while criminals walk the streets. And yet, we're supposed to believe that a few bills passed, written by City Council weeks ago, suddenly prove leadership? No. Leadership is showing up when no one else will. It's being accountable for those messes you didn't even make. It's not hiding behind a desk, behind a memo. It's not here to play I'm not here to play politics. I'm here because I give a damn. And if that frustrates the people in office, good, because the city deserves better. It deserves transparency. It deserves a mayor that you can actually find in the streets. It deserves someone who answers hard questions, not someone who dodges them. Professionalism, safety, and action. That's not a slogan, that's a standard. Not to smile, not to play nice. To fix what needs fixing. I'm Brianna Rice.
There you go, it's your time.
All right.
Thank you, Brianna. I know questions going to be asked afterwards. All I did was give them food and drink to make sure they were properly fed and watered. Can't go hungry or thirsty up here.
You know what?
Next candidate we're going to bring up is going to be representative for Greg Bentos.
Hey, do you need food or water? Do you need food or water?
Hello, everyone. My name's Logan Marshall. Like he said, I am here on behalf of Greg Bentos, one of the candidates for mayor here. I just got a quick speech that he wrote, so I will just be giving this off. I won't take too much of your time here, so I'll go ahead and start. The citizens of Los Santos, my name is Greg Bentos, and I'm running to be your next mayor. Not for power, not for prestige, but for you. Every day, hardworking residents are being priced out of neighborhoods they help build, from Vespucci Beach to Davis, from Vinewood Hills to Mirror Park. Our people are being squeezed by sky-high rents, property hoarding, and a housing market that's forgotten its most important purpose, to provide homes. This city is rich in opportunity, but it's become a playground for the wealthy, while everyday citizens are left scrambling to afford a basic apartment. That ends with me. As your mayor, I'm going to work towards capping inflation. We're going to work towards capping inflated housing prices to bring fairness back to the market. We're going to work towards implementing a first-time homebuyer program to give newcomers a real shot at ownership. But we can't talk about rebuilding our city if our streets aren't safe. The harsh truth is many people are resorting to crime to help build their wealth, and organized crime is becoming more appealing for lower income citizens. I've walked these streets, I've listened to the families who've lost loved ones, and I've talked to the kids who feel like gang life is their only option. That's not just a crime problem, that's a leadership failure. As mayor, I plan on launching a citywide anti-gang task force that focuses on not just enforcement, but prevention too. We'll be working with partnerships with law enforcement, schools, and local leaders to stop the cycle before it starts, and potentially even re-entry programs for those ready to leave the life of crime and contribute to society again. And to our small business owners, the lifeblood of our economy, I see you. You're creating jobs, taking risk, and keeping our neighborhoods alive. As mayor, I'll work to establish a closer relationship with our local businesses and help support local entrepreneurs, potentially offering grants, exposures, and reduced licensing fees and even taxes. One of our first goals is going to be lowering sales tax to 6%, bringing more money to the business's bank. You build the culture of this city, and it's time City Hall showed up for you. And as one of the only candidates you have yet to see in a government position, I invite you to take a chance and let us show you how we can build a Los Santos where your paycheck means something, your block is safe, and your children have more to look forward to than just surviving. Vote Greg Bentos for mayor. Let's take back our homes, our neighborhoods, our small businesses, and our future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Next candidate, I'm sure everyone's very familiar with, is going to be current and running mayor, Carter Starr.
I should clap.
Good evening, Los Santos.
Is that me?
Thank you for being here tonight. Your energy, your support, and your belief in what the city
I didn't mean.
is becoming is the reason I stand before you. When I first ran for mayor, I promised bold leadership,
Easy.
an honest government, and a city hall that listens,
Oh.
not just during the election, but every single day.
I cannot hear you from over
I
You right.
promised to fight for Los Santos that works for everybody, not just a few.
Maisie, I'm trying to.
And
Maisie, I'm trying to
together,
watch the
we
show.
built real
Trying to
progress.
watch the show.
Together with my city council, we launched the Los Santos Police Department, your department, built on accountability, trust, and real community policing. At the heart of this transformation was our leadership team.
I walked over there to say,
I
hey,
want
you
to take a
fucking
moment to
basically
thank
yelled at
our
me.
wonderful leadership team made out of Chad Martin, Mike Cams, Jonathan Peary, and the rest of our lovely LSPD.
LGBT.
Next, we took on affordability, cutting unnecessary taxes, expanding on access to firearms through a partnership with the ammunition retailer, providing new grants to small businesses through our City Business Advancement Act to support the growth of the people just like you that make the city strive. We didn't just stop there. We listened to citizens, we were an open government, and we invested in public safety and our emergency services. But friends, we're not done. There's more to build, there's more to fix, and there's more to imagine. This campaign is not to maintain power, it is to continue the progress that we are doing for the city, where families can afford to live and grow through affordable housing grants so that people can stay in the city they love and not worry about being priced out of it. We will continue to work and meet with small businesses to give them the support that's needed. We will ensure that public safety isn't a thing that we dream about, it's something that happens. We will work to create the Los Santos Transit Commission, a new way to get around the city through buses, trains, and taxis. And we will work towards working with the San Andreas Department of Transportation on getting new lights throughout the system. Lights that work to get people to where they need to be quicker and not having to sit at a stoplight for more than 10 minutes.
Is he talking about a green light system?
I won't pretend that my administration's been perfect. No administration ever is. But I promise you this. We worked towards fixing our mistakes, we learned from them, and we kept on moving forward with honesty.
I'm not getting stopped on
Because
the
Los Santos deserves
sidewalk.
leadership that doesn't hide when
And
it's
Wesley,
hard.
you mind your own
Leadership that shows up every single
weirdness.
day for the people. So tonight I ask you to stand with me, not just as your mayor, but your neighbor, your ally, and your advocate. Let's protect the progress we made, let's dream even bigger, and let's build a city that works for everybody. Together, we will finish what we started. Let's get going. Let's win this. Let's keep building a city together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Starr. Our final. Oh, better to speak into the microphone. Final person we're going to get up here is going to be representative for Leroy Jenkins. You want to come on up here, sir?
Leroy.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? As you know, Leroy wishes he could have been here today, but unfortunately he wasn't. I am his kid, Sprocket Tanglefoot, and I'm here to read you a speech. So a speech as prepared by Leroy. He has a commitment to Los Santos. My fellow citizens of Los Santos,
Chief Justice.
I stand before you
Hey,
today
sorry to bother
not
again.
make grand
Our penal code is a little far out there. 213 robbery says take property from the possession of another against their will. Since our stores have apparently no locals, that does not apply, correct?
It would apply.
It would
I
apply.
won't tell you
Yeah.
that I have a
Awesome.
magic wand
It is
Thank you.
that
still
every
the
problem will
store's
vanish
possession.
overnight.
Okay,
What I can
well,
promise
yeah,
you
I was looking at
unequivocally
burglary
is
because
this:
they entered a
I'll
structure and committed another
dedicate
felony,
every
not
fiber of my being,
robbery, but
every
robbery
ounce of
is
my
what we
effort, and every
prefer to go
resource
with
at
on
my
this.
disposal to making Los Santos a better place for
One sec,
all
let me
of us.
read.
My commitment is not to a specific policy, but to a relentless pursuit of progress. This means I will listen. I will listen to your concerns, your frustrations, and your hopes.
Okay,
I
so
will seek out diverse perspectives and
you
engage with
want
every
to charge
community
him with-
within our city.
We would want to
It
charge him
means
with
I will work
robbery, but the
tirelessly,
way
I will
I'm reading
explore
it
every avenue,
is
analyze every
one of
option,
our lovely
and
DAs is going to
collaborate
throw
with
it out because I
anyone
charged him
willing
with
to
that.
put the well-being of Los
So I was
Santos
just
first.
curious your thoughts on it,
It means
because
I will act
burglary
with
or
integrity.
even grand theft would also
Every
fit
decision
for
I
this.
make will be
We're not
guided by
stacking
what
all
I
three,
believe is
or
in
even two
the
of
best
them.
interest
I
of
just
our
want to go
city
for
and
the
its
best
people.
fitting
The path
charge here.
forward may be difficult, and there will
it would be
undoubtedly
They're all
be obstacles.
robbery.
But with
Okay,
your
thank you, good
trust
sir.
and my unwavering dedication,
Yeah, no
I'm
problem.
confident that we
Bye-bye.
can together forge a brighter future for Los
Yes,
Santos.
ma'am.
If we get
I ask for your
consent
support,
from the
not based
store
on what I
owner,
say
it's
I will
okay,
do,
right? We don't have to
but
get a
on
warrant.
profound conviction that I will do everything
Like,
in my power
for
to serve this
instance,
city
the
and its
stabbing that
residents.
just happened in the Mirror
Thank you.
Park, 24/7. I called Harvey, and got his permission to look at cameras.
If you get consent from the person who owns it, yes. If it's one
Okay.
of our lovely local citizens,
Locally owned.
that does not apply. You must
Right.
seek out a
Thank you
search
very
warrant.
much. Alrighty.
Okay.
Now it's time for my
Yeah.
favorite part.
All right, I'm going back.
And this is the part you should all be scared about.
Oh, here we go.
I get to ask them some question.
This
What
isn't
we're
gonna
gonna
go
do,
well.
we're gonna ask them 2 questions. We're gonna do 1 question at a time. Each candidate's gonna come up and answer the question that has been asked. So
If
we'll
I
go ahead
fucking-
and we will read off the first question for the candidates. Please listen carefully so you guys remember it when your time comes. If you just want to take out a
just wanna sit
notepad,
down.
candidates, you can do so. Just to keep the question fresh in the head.
Man, I'm fucking.
Okay, first
Like
question
it.
here.
The ledger's Irish.
Well, it's more of a statement
Oh, the luck of the charm,
followed by
right?
a question.
I think so. I don't know.
Sounds more Scottish.
We could have submitted questions.
What do you know about Scottish?
As of lately, there's been a lot of tension between law enforcement
Wait, hey,
and
what the
I
fuck
think
did
these
we-
are.
citizens
I think
of
these
the
are
state.
his questions.
How do each of you
It's
plan
not
to
the audience questions yet. I don't think.
approach these situations and bring the community together to work with law enforcement rather than against them? We'll bring up Moxie Nighthawk first.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, farm mate.
Who the fuck is this redneck bitch?
All right. So how to lessen tensions between law enforcement and citizens of the state, correct? Yep. All right. Well, step 1 begins with what I helped to do during my term as deputy mayor, which was help establish the Los Santos Police Department as a education over enforcement type department. Nobody likes dealing with officers who are, for lack of a better term, hunting a quota. If all they're out there to do is rack up tickets, rack up arrests with no care about the public, that's the type of law enforcement that gets people scared, angry, upset, restless, rebellious, for lack of better terms. Now, as mayor of Los Santos, duties fall within the city itself. However, we do have direct line of communication with the state governor. If elected for your mayor in the next term, I will expand this education over enforcement policy into works with the San Andreas Highway Patrol as well as federal agencies. Thank you, sir.
Okay, for this one, I'm not going to introduce candidates again, which is once the person's finished, the next candidate can come up and answer the question that was asked.
All right, so one of the major issues with a lot of civilians, obviously, like he said, was the tension between law enforcement. With my time in this administration that I worked under Carter, we did elect a police chief, and that police chief, when we first elected him, was supposed to be someone who was, for a better word, for the people. And so far, the police have been doing a great job, but there are still issues with the tensions. The promise that was committed by Carter Starr back in his previous election was the Civilian Oversight Committee, which allowed civilians to look over law enforcement and law enforcement policies. That never came to fruition during the 2 months that he has been in office, and since our current administration has been. With that being said, I would impose another Civilian Oversight Administration Board, because it does need to be, it is a good tool to have. I would also work, again, like Moxie has stated, regarding the state governors. Make sure that all law enforcement are aware of community first over enforcement. That is another very important thing of mine. I believe that serving the community is what you are hired to do. You are a public servant, there to serve the community, but also protect its citizens.
I'm sorry, what was your answer? I couldn't remember.
Excuse me. I'm sure you remember me, so I'm not going to really introduce myself, but I will say this again. I am speaking on behalf of him, so I don't want to promise that this is exactly what Greg would say, but I've known him for a pretty long time, so I would imagine Greg would take this situation just like he would any other and sit down with both people. Take it down, take some time to sit with law enforcement and the citizens themselves who are, having these complaints, having these troubles, maybe even take anonymous complaint or anonymous tips, things like that. Just ways to communicate with people and really address this situation clearly and find a middle ground for everybody that makes everybody happy, where we're all going to come out with something in the end. We all want to make sure that we're just ended up in a good situation, and tension isn't good. And in reality, I personally haven't seen these tensions, but I know they are there, and I've heard from other people that they are there. So like I said, I would just only imagine we would sit with both of these people, take time for everybody to really voice their opinions and try to meet in the middle somewhere. So like I said, everybody can take out something from something.
All right, thank you for your question. The other day, I got a chance to do a ride-along with Deputy Chief Hams, and he explained to me something that we ensured when we chose the candidate that we did. That they were more about community policing and more about education than enforcement. Recently, it's not an easy process to get into the LSPD. You have to go through different things, because they want the best candidate that sees their vision. Ms. Rice is right. I did say that I wanted a police oversight body, and that is something that I was working on.
Failed promises.
But hasn't passed council.
No more years.
As Moxie said, we need to sit down with all elected officials, governors, mayors, city councilors, to get a common goal
to be fair,
across. That it needs to be enforcement over education, because that is what you guys need the most. I will continue to work with the people. I will continue to explain both sides of the table, because I am your advocate in City Hall. I am your ally, and we will move forward together. Thank you.
Ally.
Hey, what's up, everybody? As you know, I'm representing Leroy, but we believe in simplicity. We're going to meet the issue before it becomes a problem, meet with citizens and officials publicly, We don't want anything to be done behind the scenes, so
76
we're going to keep it all out in the
downstairs.
open.
What is?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, straight to the point.
Straight to the point.
It's too hot.
Leroy for mayor.
Alrighty.
Our AC like cannot
Alrighty.
keep up.
Final question I have for them.
Who's on the cowboy hat?
It's going to be, how will you ensure transparency, and accountability in your administration?
I won't punch my
We'll go
deputy
the
mayor
opposite
in the
time this
fucking
time.
head.
We'll start off
Sorry.
with Leroy's representative, his own son.
That makes me seem super biased. And I actually could give two shits.
So I believe I just answered this, but we're all about simplicity. It's not about being behind closed doors. It's not about having private meetings and quiet rooms. It's about being in front of everybody, talking to you, talking to our council people, talking to our elected officials. That is what we believe in. So thank you. And as a send-off from Leroy himself, Leroy!
Oh my god.
I love it. That's my fault.
Right. That was pretty
I gave
ear-piercing,
Wes
but
that idea.
that's my
Oops.
thoughts on that. When I first ran for office, my common goal was transparency and accountability through all city services. Anytime we had a issue in our current administration, we ensured that we had outside individuals looking into it. We spoke to business owners, we spoke to attorneys, and we spoke to judges. And we even, if needed, spoke to law enforcement. One of the things that we saw in our current administration was some comments that one of our councilmen were making. We dealt with that thoroughly through an internal review, and we impeached said person. We will continue, if elected again, to do the same thing. We will ensure your voice matters in City Hall. We will ensure that if you have a concern, that we look into it. Thank you.
Interesting.
Hey, it's me again. So, obviously, once again, not Greg, but
That guy's got
as
my
I'll be
vote.
working with him closely
Hey,
through this
it's me again.
campaign, I can absolutely assure you that we will be keeping open doors as a majority of the time. So, any complaints,
Hey man, I'm a
any
simple dude.
questions,
I like
anything
the
like
three
that,
Bs.
we will be absolutely willing to
Beers,
hear you
burgers,
out and
boobs.
tell you as much as we can on some things. There, of course, is some things
If
that
a
will have to
president just
remain
walked
behind
on
closed
stage and went,
doors, but
"Hey,
as much
me
as we
again,"
can keep open,
I would-
we will
I'd be
keep
like,
open.
you know what? You win.
We will try to maybe even have a hotline, just ideas, throwing out that maybe you can contact to have different tips or questions, even potentially coming out with I believe there is an account that we could do on Twitter or Birdie, excuse me, that we could potentially come out with updates every so often about what we are working on and have this consistent with you guys to, like they said, keep transparency and accountability throughout everything. So we want to hear from you. We want to talk with you. And just like I believe many of the others have said before me, you guys are the voice. We want to make sure that you are heard. So we'll listen to you when it comes to this.
Yeah, due to out of character reasons, he couldn't be here.
I ran on the idea of accountability within the office, and I've said a lot of things that people don't understand go on in the office that have gone on. One of my main policies that obviously I want to start doing, if elected as mayor, is make sure that citizens have the right to come up to City Hall whenever they feel like it and talk with representatives. You shouldn't feel like you don't have to come to City Hall to talk about your issues. City Hall's doors have always been open. City Hall's doors will remain open. Any issues that you address to us, we'll get handled. We're not going to take note. We're going to get it handled. Because at the end of the day, I work for the city. I'm a public servant. My job is to serve the people of the city, not sit behind closed doors. Yes, some things do remain behind closed doors, and they will remain until we get the chance, if it's an internal investigation or whatever, like I've stated about oversight. Oversight is a huge thing, even with police department or even in city government. Whenever we're having a vote for something, you are encouraged to come, speak your voice. That is something that I want to start making sure that we get pushed more frequently. Instead of pushing department memos, let's start bringing them to the people and start addressing these issues head on. I'm always been out there. Always, my ears have always been open for people's changes, and they will continue to be.
Okay.
Oh, myself and this microphone are going to become good friends by the end of the night. Oh, here we go. So, transparency. We all love it. But it doesn't just mean press releases. It means presence. I'll ensure transparency by keeping City Hall open, accessible, and responsive. So that means regular public briefings, direct lines of communication to my office, and publishing clear data on where your money goes, who gets contracts, and what's being done behind every decision. I want people to see the work as it happens, not just when it's convenient to share. If we mess up, we'll own it. If we succeed, we'll show our work. Because if you have to dig for answers from your government, then that's not your government. And under my administration, it will be your government. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Nighthawk. I know it says I was gonna keep it to 2 questions, but I'm gonna ask if anybody wants to ask one of our candidates a question. Feel free to just come up to the little barrier there. I'll come down, take your question, and then I'll read it out.
I really just want to be like,
Ledger, can I just use my megaphone? Or can I use my megaphone,
oh, yeah,
bro?
that fucking yeah. Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
that fucking works.
Okay.
That's easier for.
Wait, can I ask a question for Moxie and Carter? 2 questions separate.
Oh boy.
Moxie and Carter.
I'm terrified.
Well, the first one's for Moxie because the second
gonna
one's gonna
come
be
up.
for Carter.
How hard does Carter hit?
Okay. All right.
Here's a megaphone if anyone needs one.
Moxie.
Yes, sir.
So I just heard something just off the street. Can you inform the public how you're recovering after the TBI that Carter gave you in the shop? After he assaulted you? Can you go ahead and just give some insight into how you're recovering from that, and if there's any long-standing effects from what he did when he assaulted you?
Fucking
So one thing that I do want to make clear and transparent is it's not assault in the term that everybody thinks of. He didn't beat the crap out of me. On public record here, in front of all of you people of Los Santos, if there's anybody from the media recording to put on live TV, it was a playful slap to the back of my head after I made comments admiring another person's car. That's all it was. Now that slap did force me forward, and I did end up hitting my head and falling unconscious that day. However, to directly answer your question, the recovery has been an extremely smooth process thanks to the fine folks over at the hospital. It originally happened when they were at Mount Sona. Mount Sona's medical team, now Vespucci, top tier.
What a smooth recovery that was.
Follow up on that just real quick. I'm sorry, I won't take up too much time. For the sake of the transparency of the public, did Carter lie about what happened in the shop that night in the hospital bed whenever you woke up?
For the sake of the public, I will answer that. The fine citizens of San Andreas and the fine citizens of Los Santos need to know. Yes, Carter did fail to tell the truth that evening when I woke up from the coma. At first, in all transparency, he told me that it was my shoes. I slipped over my shoes. But let's also face facts. He's in a position, mayoral position. He was feared for being able to work for the city that he loves. Him and I did have a heart-to-heart a couple days after the incident. And while I can say I will never forget it, I do forgive him. It was a mistake. He owned up to that mistake to myself and to several other individuals in the public. Him and I have since worked to move past that incident. I will say in my heart of hearts, as I stated to Carter, I did not appreciate being lied to in the hospital bed, but him and I have moved past that.
Thank you, Moxie. Next one's for Carter.
Thank you, Obi.
Oh, they should not be letting
Yes,
him ask
Obi.
these questions.
Carter, on a campaign built on transparency and truthfulness and honesty, what do you have to say in regards to what Moxie just explained to everybody?
I'll say the incident did happen. It, as Moxie said, it was a playful gesture. Him and I have become very close in this administration. We've become close in our past jobs working in the courts.
I'm gonna go into the Carter Star ticket.
It was a
and
wrong
be like,
decision.
Hey, so
I will say that 100%.
So taking into account
Will it ever happen again?
Moxie's
Absolutely not.
open testimony before the citizens of San
Because
Andreas,
at the end of the
I'm
day,
willing
myself
to
and
drop
Moxie
the bat.
have a
I'm willing
common
to
goal.
drop most
We
of
love
the
this city. We want to protect this
most
city.
of these charges as long as he takes a
because all of you
misdemeanor
deserve
for
the best
battery.
potential likelihood of everything.
Because a
that comes
playful
across our
slap and
desk.
you fucking knock dude
you.
out. Come on.
I guess since you walked away, that's all, sir.
Sorry. I
Yeah,
didn't
but
realize
as
there
a
was a second question.
first-time offender, and it was
No, you're good. I was gonna ask.
accidental.
I was gonna ask if you had any
He
comments
deserves a
for
misdemeanor.
transparency to the public about what happened to Auto Exotics and why you were possessing a firearm and gave false information to the government officials about that event.
How did he
Again,
get false
that's
information?
before the courts. I was never formally convicted of the charges that I had, and as a person that is still, it is a court matter. I protected a citizen who was being shot at by a gang member. I dealt with the threat, and I honestly didn't think that when law enforcement asked me if they had anything that was going to poke, stick, or harm them meant a whiskey bottle. I did the right thing. I protected a citizen, and I think that what happened there wasn't wrong. Any other questions?
No, that's it. I just want to say for any FOIA request, it's number 837. I'm just saying.
I bet. Obi.
Okay.
Excuse me.
For those who don't know what FOIA is, it's Freedom of Information Request. Just in case anyone didn't know what that was. Does anybody else have any questions for any of the candidates or representatives representing a candidate? If you do, stand up, and I'm sure Obi will temporarily give you his microphone for a sec.
I can do one.
Rose dropped one if you want to.
I might go grab Harvey
Yeah,
over there and be
Rose
like,
has
"Hey,
one.
you wanna talk real quick?"
I have a
Yep, she
question.
has one. All right, who's your question for?
I
Christopher.
really am.
It would be a general question.
willing to
Okay.
drop the fuck.
Okay, so
The
I would like
battery,
to
the
know
dissuading and
what
the
each
dissuading and
candidate plans on
tampering,
doing
and then
to
drop
help
the battery to
fund
to
the
a
departments that
misdemeanor.
help protect the
But
this state. For example, like the San Andreas Highway Patrol, SPD, and the San Andreas Fire Department, who risk their lives day in, day out with the uprise in gang activity that's been approaching on our city streets. What do you plan on doing to protect these people who want to conduct their jobs without being shot, stabbed, or
illegal
blackmailed into doing whatever it is that they wish them
firearm
to
carry
do?
violation when they have been arrested for a felony.
Yeah, he's going any order he's.
Were they both charged as
All right.
felonies?
Thank you, Rose, for your question. During this administration, we did a lot to support law enforcement and the fire department. Sure, it did take some time to get some things done. We worked closely with the fire chief, Chief Ethan, and we worked closely with Chief Mayoral and now Chief Martin. With state agencies, it's hard for the municipality to do much, but we worked with all of our law enforcement agencies because at the end of the day,
latest arrest report?
I support the law enforcement doing their job. I was a police officer before I moved to San Andreas. It's a hard job, it's a stressful job. And at the end of the day, we always hope that our law enforcement and first responders come home safely
I don't know
at
if
the
they
end of their
charged it as
shifts.
either.
We will work closely with all law enforcement agencies and our fire partners to continue
not
the
really.
growth that we've made. As Ms. Rice said, my administration gave $600,000 for the LSPD budget, and we are
Yeah.
continuing to work with the LSPD on their newly
Like he's
created
gonna keep
gang
that
unit
one
to
because
target gang
they
members before it becomes worsened. And
use all
the
of them as misdemeanors.
same
so
offer is
I
for
might drop it from
the
a
highway
class
patrol.
A to a class C.
If you need anything in the municipal government, my office is always open.
No.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna come up here and fix some issues for y'all real quick. So, regards to your question, Rose, yes, I haven't really worked with the fire department very much. I know the rest of the city has.
He might keep
I'm willing
that.
to work with the fire department with whatever they need, whether it be funding, whether it be new equipment, whether it be just resources in general, medical supplies, whatever. That's the budget that just went to LSPD past about a week now. Has been in the budget for a little
Class
bit.
C.
I helped increase the budget to what it was. So the budget that was pushed was $600,000 to the LSPD. That wasn't just funding the gang unit. That was funding the officer for every single one of his car, his equipment, his firearm.
On
All
the
of that
report,
that
does
was
it say
pushed
that they
was
took his,
because of a bigger
weapons
number crunch
license
that
from
I
him?
wanted to make sure, and that city council made sure that the city had the funding. When it
big
comes to
35-page
SHP, again, it's kind of an issue with us being a
report.
municipality, like Carter stated. But that doesn't mean that we can't help them in any way, shape, or form. We can via city contract, or whether that be something else to give them the resources they
Yeah,
need
that's
within the
not
city.
logged, so-
It doesn't necessarily mean that we can't help the SHP. We can. It's just it needs to be done within a city contract or whatever the means might be through. The LSPD could create a contract.
Harvey's phone
Yes, the
number.
budget there is the money there for department funding and for making sure the city remains safe, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure those officers get home every night. If the officers aren't getting home, and the same with fire personnel, you guys deal with a lot of sticky situations, whether it be somebody coming up who's, maybe who's on controlled substance, any of that nature. I think definitely having help fund the LSFD, the SHP, and the LSPD is something that we've already shown that we're able to do. It's just now we're at the point where, with the city being the way it is and the amount of violence that is being caused within the city, definitely I want to help increase the budget within the city.
All right. Listen, everybody, Leroy and I, we don't come from politics. We're not really sure what our limitations are going to be once we get into this office. But we're going to do everything in our power to ascertain the answers and the results as soon as we can. What I can tell you is that Leroy, he is a man that served this country as a combat medic for quite some time. I can promise you that he wants everybody, no matter who they are, home safe every night. Thank you.
All right, real quick touch on, and just to hammer home the fact that has been stated by several under candidates this evening.
Okay.
Yes, so this is
What?
for the mayor of Los Santos.
Is that in the
As mayor
report?
of Los Santos, we work with city agencies when it comes to funding. If the governor wants to increase the funding specifically for San Andreas Highway Patrol, we will work with him to ensure that the troopers get what they need. Now, one thing that we can do is help develop interagency.
Every time I see fish, I don't say hi, I don't say what's up, it's just walk by, fish.
To ensure that the streets of Los Santos itself are properly secure, crime-free.
837.
Ensuring that the SAHP, Los Santos Police Department, fire, EMS,
It can
and other
get
first
dismissed,
responders
but this
can all
whole
operate
thing is about a
together
case
seamlessly
that is
without
being
gaps or any
dismissed.
sort of
Speaking with
power struggle.
absolute fucking clarity.
And thank you all.
Oh, man. See, that makes me not want to not be nice to him.
All right, last but not least here. Oh, I keep missing the microphone here, guys. Sorry about that. But overall, kind of like Sprocket had said here, me and Greg, we really don't come from a lot of political background. So while we're unsure of exactly what limitations we have, we're going to take a similar stance to this as we're going to do with everything else. We're going to work with command teams to come up with priorities and goals for the city and the individual
Myself and
organizations
Justice
themselves. And
Jones.
we will absolutely make it a priority to meet these goals and come to a common ground where, once again, everybody can be happy and everybody can come out with satisfaction at the end of the day. Thanks.
Yes.
Alrighty. Anybody else got any
Fishes everywhere.
questions for any of the candidates? And I got there. I think Rose put a megaphone down on the ground there. If anybody wants to.
Yeah, I
have a
got
little
some
show.
questions for y'all.
Oh, there we go.
I have a question.
Alright,
I want to ask
so
about the bicycle.
this is going to be a 3-part question for you guys.
I want to ask about bicycle.
All right. So first one, what will you do for small businesses with the increase in gang violence around the state?
Oh.
Second, quality food in this state has been lacking. It's been causing many of us to stack up when places are open and available. Would the city be willing to offer discounts on licenses to help resolve this issue? And then third, what are your top 5 goals?
Why don't you go to one of the places
if
that
you
is
are,
known
or what are your top 5 goals
that
within
is
the first
around
2
and
weeks to
have a way?
accomplish as if you are elected mayor?
We'll keep it in a bit of order. We'll go from Moxie down to. I keep forgetting his name. Leroy's representative. Sorry.
Leroy.
Wow. Damn.
What?
Oh, right. The first of your 3-part
What?
questions was what to do with small businesses, helping them in terms of
Yeah,
higher crime rate.
what?
So that, as has already been
That's-
mentioned,
that's
is
mean.
the groundwork is in motion for that. All Santos Police Department is building a street crimes unit, which we have helped fund under Carter Starr's administration. Myself helping work on it as deputy mayor, and Brianna Rice as chief of staff. Anything that the LSPD needs going forward, budget-wise, we are more than open to work with them and ensure that the streets can be kept crime-free. The second question that you had was in regards of businesses not really being open, food not really being available for the citizens. That is something that we wish that we had the power to work more on. However, we can do our best to work with the businesses that are already in power, as well as future grants for potential businesses that want to open, ensure that they have the money. However, I personally believe the main issue comes from staffing. Visiting a lot of these places on a daily basis myself, Burger Shot, Hornies. I will admit I haven't had a chance to go to the VU yet and try their food, but the issue that a lot of these places
It's good
are
food.
facing is lack of employees. And what we intend
Thank
to do,
you. Lack of fucking
again, the groundwork's already in
employees.
motion, is host a city hall job fair where businesses can come, show what they're all about, and hopefully reach potential candidates. My top 5 goals. Honestly, that's a good one. I haven't had much time to think about that. But just continue to make sure public safety is being looked at by LSPD. Make sure people aren't going out there getting shot, stabbed for the $1 or $2 that's left in their wallet. And that leads into what I would say is number 2, proper pay. There's no reason for people to be working 2 to 3 jobs to have breadcrumbs on their table at the end of the night. I'll work with agencies, both local as well as state, to get a minimum wage increase for workers. Third goal. Third goal, I would say, would just be, in all transparency, being transparent. Fulfilling what another candidate has had and what Carter campaigned on. Civilian Oversight Committee. Make sure that LSPD doesn't go down the path of other law enforcement agencies that we've seen out there, both in this and other states. And I'll be honest, I can't think of any other 2 right now.
Maybe
Those
I won't
3
ask
are
about
very heavy. They will take a lot of work. They will take a lot of dedication, and a lot of fight. Los Santos, I'm willing to fight for you.
Oh yeah, no, they're taking too
Until the
long.
day
I don't want to ask
that
my
I die.
question about
I love you all, and I don't want to see this city crumble to bits.
the bike laws.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So to touch on your one comment about obviously the gang violence going around other businesses, obviously, like Moxie stated, like I've stated, like Carter stated, funding that just went out was going towards the gang unit. So roughly about $250,000 is going directly to fund the new gang unit that is by the LSPD that will help gang violence around the city, because it's been a mess. I mean, I've been around the state. I've seen tags being placed around the properties. I've seen a lot of violence in the streets. That's something that we need to handle. And one of my main things that I want to make sure that the LSPD is very open about is making sure that we're policing the right areas, but we're not also over-policing. Over-policing can happen sometimes when there's a really big need for something, like and there's just police everywhere, and it feels like you're being watched constantly under surveillance. We don't need that. What we need to make sure we're doing is that where the affected areas are getting policed to where people feel safe enough to leave and walk around and support businesses. Now, with regards to food, that has been a big issue I even have to deal with as somebody who works one job. Food quality has gone down
Work a second job, bitch. Work a second job. I'm tired of hearing
because at times
complaining
I'm
about
spending
there's no
to buy
places
something
open.
for a bag of chips. I'm buying 8 of them instead of 4
Get
to help
hired.
fill my stomach, as a lot of people have noticed, and that's a lot of money coming out of my account to be able to buy food. That's something that I would like to help increase. You know, maybe make them cheaper if we have to, or for that matter, maybe work with the state on making sure that the food quality is good enough to where, yes, we're still supporting the small businesses like Hornies, like Burger Shot, like Hearsay, like the Vanilla Unicorn with their food, and making sure that, you know, people are still going out there and supporting those businesses, but also too at times where you're not doing your own thing, that you're not having to stock up on so much food and waste money.
Forgot about my damn business.
Super fast. I will also work with businesses to make sure that, you know,
Oh, I hear you talking, Rose.
Their quantity of stock within their inventory is good, and the people who own the 24/7s are also keeping up with their stock and any help that they need. Now, with my 5 goals, one of my big goals that I want to start making sure is transparency. It's what I ran on, is transparency. I ran on professionalism as my first motto. Open and transparent about everything. What I'm posting or what I'm making or what I'm proposing in City Hall is broadcasted to everybody in the state, because at the end of the day, these laws that we're making are helping you. And if you guys aren't knowing about them while they're being made, or while you know, your voices aren't heard, things won't get, you know, some things might not get proposed properly, and then it hurts everybody.
Yeah, this place
That's not what I want to do. Another big one is supporting the small businesses, like I've stated. I've talked to many businesses. Just not even a week ago, I talked with the Department of Transportation, which is one of our departments, but at the end of the day, it is also a business. Their funding is nowhere. They have no funding. So they're paying employees they're paying their employees with nothing in their budget to be able to maintain themselves. I think I talked with them, they were looking at $2 to $3 grand in the bank. That's terrible. No business can support themselves with that, which is why I would also propose that in the time of when you are in such a need, or dire need for employees or funding, that the city is there, you know, maybe proposing a business relief act, which helps businesses in times where they're not able to afford certain things, able to employ certain people, making sure those businesses stay afloat, because at the end of the day, those are the businesses that you support and that the city also supports, to make sure that everything runs properly, and that, you know, the city you can call home. Another one of my major goals would be, again, making sure we're working with law enforcement.
The problem is that people don't
Always
work.
been a big thing. I've worked with Cody in the past. I've worked with our new police chief. I worked with Hams. I've worked with Pierre. I've worked with those guys enough to understand their vision and wanting to fulfill their vision. Same with us. I haven't really spoke to SHP, but again, in my administration, I will be speaking with SHP, making sure that they're open and transparent, and everyone's open and transparent.
And
then also
work at
the
one of
funding
these
is where it needs
places.
to go.
I have 2 people
Another big one of my
at my place of business, and it's
things I'm running on is
me
action,
and
right?
Clementine.
So again, things that are going to get
That's
done.
it.
We're not going to have things sit on my desk for a month.
Nobody else
Okay?
works.
Things that are going to get pushed are going to get pushed. If you write a proposal, let's get it out to city council immediately. Let's maybe get the word out to other citizens, allow
Like,
them to voice their
Luca got
opinions.
burned out of life.
Another thing I've also
Sam
noticed in the state that people
left
have problems
us,
with
and then
is the right to
everybody
defend
else,
themselves under
like,
the Second
yeah,
Amendment.
nobody else
I've
works
spoken to
here.
some people about the Second Amendment and some of the current gun laws in the state. And I've spoken to an ammunition owner, and
The ammunition owner.
it's one of those things too where it's like the pricing of certain firearms are through the roof. Certain firearms that are open to the Constitution that you aren't able to possess in the state aren't there. I mean, citizens should be able to own certain firearms. I believe that it's your right to carry. I mean, that's what the Constitution states in the Second Amendment. That's another big one, is making sure that the citizens have the right to defend themselves and they're not being prosecuted for defending themselves. Again, the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. And another big one I want to work directly with is making sure that we're making sure our government is running efficiently. Maybe trying to get an efficiency board running to where citizens can come oversee certain operations of the city, make sure everything's going well. And the same, again, with the civilian oversight board that goes over law enforcement, that I'd like to make sure that we're, enacting.
Right, so you had quite a few questions here, so I'll definitely try to hit everything. Starting from the top, I know you mentioned small businesses and increased gang activity, so definitely something Greg has stressed to me a lot over the time that we spent discussing his campaign is the anti-gang task force in his head. He's had a lot of ideas for something that we could implement with either any of the law enforcement agencies. We're definitely going to talk around and see what we can do here. But I will say, like I said, it has been a priority. We're going to try to work with them to pinpoint hotspots and potentially implement heavier coverage in high activity areas. But we also want to work with the people to come to an alternative for all this violence. So we'll definitely be working to better the community in that way. In regards to the license, the discounts on licenses, I think you were trying to ask if we could give
Where'd the
discounts on
spotlight come
licenses for
from?
food selling. Now, I'm not sure we'd be able to do much for that, but we definitely
it's
like to
fucking
sit
dead
down with
silent
a lot of
for me.
people and hear our thoughts on what our current food situation is, and maybe even discuss potential for meal assistance like food stamps or something or other. So definitely something that we'd like to discuss with you, and if we can hear that that's definitely a huge concern, we'll be happy to implement anything that we can. Now, in regards to our top 5 goals within the first 2 weeks, I definitely think that, like I said before, Greg has stressed to me the importance of this anti-gang task force, and that would definitely be our number 1 on our list. Get that out there so that the people can feel safer on the streets, and overall in these small businesses as well, feel safer to open up and have cash, even in your registers or in your safe. So definitely our top priority. I would say our second priority is at the very least a timeline for the implementation of a first-time homebuyer program. While it's not, I don't want to make any guarantees as to what we can do. I do want to definitely guarantee that we will get a timeline as to what we are working on and be transparent with you guys as to where we're at with things and where we will be maybe in a week or so or within 2 weeks. Now, our third is definitely going to be a lower sales tax. We're going to work down to get that down potentially to maybe 6%. 6%, maybe even lower. We got to see what we can do, but that's definitely something me and Greg have spoke about, and that's something we're going to try to implement within those first 2 weeks. And then, of course, moving down to number 4, we definitely want to work with more publicity events and things like partnerships, events like I think we just did, or not, but I just participated in one the other day. Maybe
You were present when they placed Carter Starr into custody, right?
We want to definitely work with the community to sponsor
both
more
cases,
like
yes.
and get more people out
Okay.
there. And
Can you
working to
confirm
build
that they
strong,
took
friendships
his
and bonds and do this
his-
networking within your
his
community? I think that's very
weapons
important. I think Greg
license
finds that
from
very
him the
important as
first
well.
time?
So that's going to be a priority.
The first time
and
they
then
did
I think
not.
our last goal
First
would
time they
definitely
did
be
not.
to establish a clear
From
line
what
of
I saw,
communication
no.
for the people to
Okay.
express their concerns and get their questions answered. whether it's through
That I was gonna go
Birdie
talk to
or,
you.
He
or
still
through
had
a
it.
text or a
So
call
he had
or
it
open
again
doors, you know, we want to
when
make sure that everybody feels like they
we
can
arrested
express
him the
themselves
second
and
time.
still
Had it
feel
again
like we
or
can get
still
back to them
had it?
in a timely manner.
I don't know because it doesn't log that for us. So
It
if
doesn't
they
log
did
it for
take
anybody.
yeah. So
Alright.
if they did take it, I can't know for
As,
sure.
Some of my members of my
Do
administration
you know
has mentioned,
who else was on scene with you?
we have been working with the
The
LSPD
first arrest?
to
Yes.
create a street
Uh,
crimes unit.
Clem,
Yes,
John
the
Royce,
crimes throughout our
Greg,
city are becoming more and
Tyler
more,
Davis.
from robberies to car thefts to shootings
Yeah.
on top of that. People are trying to take turf.
Do you know if Clem's around?
Your call has been forwarded.
Nope.
Towards implementing
Straight to
the
voicemail.
street crimes unit.
Yeah, I don't think she's around right now.
I have always been
Okay,
open
'cause
with my businesses, or the
I'm
businesses throughout the city.
thinking
Ask
of
if they need
dropping
anything,
some charges.
Please contact me.
Mm.
We have
Given
worked with
Moxie's
the Small Business
testimony.
Advancement Act to ensure businesses are getting the funds that they're needing if they need help from the city.
Mm.
I worked closely the other day with the state of San Andreas Department of Transportation to ensure they have the funds that they need. Because at the end of the day, without
that's
our
all I had.
economy, we have no city.
Yeah, I mean,
The pillars
Because if
that
he
I have
still
for
had
the
it,
next
I'm gonna
administration
drop
and the
his
one that
subsequent
we
charge.
currently
So
serve under
the
is
problem is that he
create
was
the
arrested
Affordable
for
Housing
okay,
Act
so
to
he
ensure
was
people
arrested
are
for
staying in the
felony, but
city
they didn't take
and
his
not moving
weapons
away because they
license.
can't
yeah,
afford to live
so
in this beautiful city.
we'll discuss that here.
Keep supporting
Yeah, that's a
businesses
Clementine
and
question.
community service agencies.
Clem and Tyler Davis.
Invest in the people. Make sure
Alright, I appreciate you.
jobs and housing
Yep, no problem.
are where we need
Check
it.
over this report real quick.
And create
Have
the Los
fun.
Santos Transit Commission to ensure people
Okay,
are getting around.
so I would
where they
share
need it,
the actual
when they
like
need it.
30-page
And
report to
lastly,
y'all, but it is 35
being
pages.
open
And
and
it is
available to the public and other city
Ooh,
leaders,
man.
because that
It's
the
something.
city needs to know that their mayor's office is where they need them when they need them.
Oh golly, it's toasty up here.
All right. So I don't want to give too long answers or anything. We do believe in small businesses and keeping them safe. So really, what it boils down to is that we're going to work with our local law enforcement, see what they need to be able to protect you guys. With that said, we also want to enable everybody to be able to protect themselves where appropriate. So, you know, making sure that rightful citizens are able to have weapons in hands to defend themselves when necessary. High quality foods, man. You know, we're gonna
It's
need to figure that out. We need to look for better sources. That's really what it comes down to.
gosh.
If we can fund and help protect or help bring that to the city, we'll do our
Hold
best
on
to do
one
that.
Oogie.
For our top 5 goals
question for you.
the first 2 weeks, we want to
Answer.
set up a
Let me
system
just,
where we can, or
Let me
where
just step
all
away
the
from all these
citizens
folks here.
can see what initiatives we're working on
Hey,
without having to
so
speak with
when
somebody
you
from
placed
council.
so
or,
were you
the mayor
there
himself.
for the
We wanna
first
give
arrest of Carter
businesses
Star?
support, grants are great,
Yes.
businesses that hold
When
key
you
parts of
placed
the
him
city are
into
not properly
custody,
funded,
did you
and all
guys
should be.
take his weapons license from him?
For the third one,
Tyler
you
removed
know, we
both
just had a
his
big
weapons license
party
and
yesterday.
John's.
We
They
wanna
were
make
arrested
sure
at
that we
basically the
do,
same time.
more public
Okay.
outreach like that.
Okay, because
Get
it
us all
is
in one place,
my
talking,
understanding that when he was
having a
placed
good
into
time.
custody a second time, he had a weapons
And we
license.
definitely want to work on.
So when he was placed
having
into
more freedom for
custody,
citizens.
yes, he had one, obviously.
That's as
But
simple as
after
making sure
that,
these park-
it
or,
was taken
yeah,
off. It
parking
was
tickets
actually funny enough
as
because
alcohol.
before he got
Because
arrested for the
stoplights
second
and
time,
red lights are
I remember me and
stopped
Tyler were
for
talking, and
done that to
he
police.
goes, "How does
But we
Carter have a
can make
weapons
sure that you
license?"
guys
And
have
I'm
the
like,
freedom
"What?"
you currently
And
have.
he's like, "Yeah."
Let
And
us-
I
let us
was
best
busy doing other
on
shit,
the
so I
game
didn't have
now.
time to kind of look into it. But
Finally,
obviously,
there's one
I
more
think it
thing
was
with the
PD or
economy.
somebody that ended up giving him his
Bring
weapons
down
license
taxes
back,
if we can.
and then I'm
Okay.
Put more
to
money
him
back
getting
into
arrested
pockets.
again.
Are you willing to write out a brief affidavit stating that you took his license from him, or rather
You want me to
that,
get Tyler to write
that
it?
it was
Since you
taken?
did it?
It doesn't matter who, as long
Okay.
as someone was a witness to it.
Questions for any of our
Yeah,
candidates?
I can do that.
Alright, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
No
so
problem.
with
Go ahead.
adding on
Alright,
to
thanks.
Yeah,
bringing
bye.
down taxes, putting more money into our pockets and stuff like that. Do we have any plans? You know, because we're being taxed on our income and stuff
Hey,
like
excuse me,
that. Do
pardon
we
me?
have any plans on implementing tax returns? where every, month or so, however, whatever time period it be, 30 days,
Everybody's
60
just
days, whatever, where we get a
everybody's
tax
just looking
return
at their
on the
phones.
income that we're being taxed on?
It's kind of funny.
That's actually a really good question. I'll let
So the gentleman host there doesn't forget my name again. It is Sprocket Tanglefoot, and I am here to represent Leroy Jenkins. But tax returns, they're a great idea. Again, we don't come from politics. We don't know what we're walking into, what we're getting into. But if that is something that we can do, that is something that we would want to do. Because more money in your pockets means more money coming back to the government. It's a cycle. We got to support each other in that sense.
Homer, it's too hot up here. Buddy, you should be downstairs trying to get yourself a weather.
Sorry, I just wanted to quickly say something as well.
Yeah.
Apologies, Sprocket. That's all I wanted to say. Just to know that I did remember his name. I just didn't say it. My bad.
Okay. So, as mentioned, affordability is something that I targeted during the beginning of my first administration and the current administration. Taxes are extremely low because at the end of the day, we believe that more money should stay in your pockets, not come to us. I believe tax returns are a great idea. It's something that I haven't thought about, but it's something that we will definitely work on, either at the end of our current administration or in our next administration, because you're right, taxes should come back to you.
Buddy.
I hope that answers your question.
All right, so kind of like everybody else has stated, I think that while that is a generally excellent idea for tax returns, I don't think that in reality we would be able to implement something like that. While I think we'd be happy to work towards an idea similar, I think we'd also be happy to work towards potential implementation of benefits rather than straight cold hard cash maybe coming back to you in the form of a tax return of some sort. Potential, like maybe I discussed previously, like maybe something in the form of food stamps or ways for us to give back to the community in a way that isn't just that cold hard cash, because at the end of the day, that's something that would be very difficult to keep track of. I mean, of course, I've not taken a look at what systems, of course, the current mayor has. I mean, I'm not unaware of what we may be able to see. So that's definitely something that as we take office, if we do, we'll have to kind of give you more of an on the line about that. But once again, like I've stated before, if that's something that does come up, we'd be happy to look into it and potentially implement anything that we can in regards to giving back to you guys when it comes to the taxes.
But I'll say I'll touch on this about tax-related stuff. In regards to tax returns, I think it's a great idea. In practice, yes, if we try to propose something and seeing how it works again. Love the idea of money going back into your pockets and the business pockets and everything.
One sec. We're going downstairs real quick.
In a sense, I think that in general, it's not just about the taxes. It's about the fact that y'all aren't getting paid enough. I mean, how many of you have to work 3 jobs just to stay afloat to be able to afford things? Like, the pricing is outrageous compared to what it used to be when I remember when I first got here. I mean, we're looking at how much housing is nowadays, how much it is to go and buy food for yourself, how much it is to afford a car, and that's no one's. That's inflation. That's the problem with what we're doing. And the more that you're getting paid, the more that things go up, the higher the tax is. And that's the problem. We need to set a set standard for pricing around the state, not just in general getting money. You guys should keep money in your pocket, but also make sure we're setting a set standard of maybe lowering the price of the cost of living, so then have the money to be able to afford things.
Okay. I am back.
All right, sir. So while I cannot directly promise any form of tax returns, especially with the city of Los Santos being so fresh in terms of
George.
cities throughout the state or throughout the United States of America,
It's hot.
being under orders from the governor every day to
A
start
little walk
funding this, start
downstairs got me
funding
huffing
that,
and
more and
puffing.
more of the city's money is going
It's
to
hot.
state projects. Again, I can't promise any sort of returns, but what I can promise is more transparency. Fully giving you guys an insight into our budget, whether that be weekly posts on Birdie to let you guys know, hey, this is what the city funds look like. This is exactly what your money's going to. And because of that, we have $1 left for the city. Yes, I will take your suggestion though. And if it is something that we can work with in the future, of course, 110%, I will make sure you get something back. Thank you.
Oh, I think she'll love that. Alrighty, I'm gonna go sit down now.
Thank you. If anyone does have any more questions, we are going to start timing this a bit more now because I have received 13 texts in the past 20 minutes about the time that this is taking. So we'll ask for 2 more questions. Well, if anyone else has 2 more questions, we'll take them. If nobody has any, then we can call it there. Anybody else got any final questions? I see Mr. Shackles up and ready again.
Just one small one and just another small one. The for the candidates that say that they're all for businesses and supporting businesses, I can speak on myself and probably 2 or 3 other businesses that we've only seen 2 candidates actually come by and talk. What do you have any take on the reason why they have not came by to say anything or advocate for us to vote for them?
Yeah, that's fine.
Whew, mercy.
Yep. If what we'll do is we'll have the candidates that haven't swung by come up and answer that question because I feel that's more for them than anyone else.
All right, Mr. Shackles. So I did let you know
Excuse me, brother.
personally the evening that I threw my hat in the ring. However, I do want to deeply apologize for not making it 2 bennies. I actually have not been able to leave my apartment for the past 4 days. Been fighting a severe head cold, and I'm pretty sure you can speak for yourself and your employees. You'd rather not them have sick, you'd rather not have them get sick and possibly miss time, not being able to work on somebody's car. I apologize from the bottom of my heart on ever since announcing my candidacy, not being able to swing by your establishment. But you know where my heart is, Obi. You know where my heart has always been. I love you like a brother. I love everybody else in Los Santos. I'm sorry.
I was just like, who the fuck is this guy?
I've just been sick. Thank you.
Boo.
Obi, I was at your event last night. I've been making my rounds throughout the city because I do deeply care about all the businesses in the city. If it's in the city or if it's through the state, I care about all businesses because you're the lifeline of what a city needs to be. I hope that answers your question.
Sprocket, turn around.
Turn around, put your hands up.
Should I ask a question? Is they
That was all. The next one was
you're
I'm asking on behalf, kind of just another thought in my mind. If we're so for the police being so friendly with the community and not writing tickets or being big pencil pushers,
Joshua?
can we focus more on demilitarizing them? Put the ARs in the vehicle or something like that? Kind of show a more
I'm a pencil pusher.
friendly
What you
peaceful
got
presence.
against me?
I know. Just go ahead. Let them.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Always joking. All right. Well.
All right. So, in my ride-along with Deputy Chief Mike Hams, I want to know how the LSPD is being run. They're doing targeted enforcement through both education and enforcement when needed, but they're not trying to write more tickets than educate people. They're more for warnings when necessary.
But you should tell Joshua that.
Because at the end of the day, it should be more about
not
enforcement than
done.
education. Or sorry, it should be more about enforcement than education. It should be more about education over enforcement. Sorry, tongue twister.
Your LSPD's filed already.
Our LSPD are doing a great job.
No, they're not.
They're really doing.
Can't go down the road 5 feet
such a
without
good
getting pulled
job
over by
with the amount
Joshua.
of people that they have. Our leadership team is working tirelessly day and night to ensure that we get the manpower that we need. But as you mentioned, as Rose asked, we need to support our law enforcement
LSPD's a
officers.
cash grab.
Their job is
You're keep embezzling money
hard.
to forge your sports car
They
collection.
constantly have to worry about their life
Literally.
being on the line. If they get out on a traffic
Damn.
stop, they don't know who they're approaching when they walk up to your window.
What the
Holy moly.
I
shit?
don't think
Did
that
you see that?
removing things from them
How much more money are you gonna embezzle?
should be a thing. I think that
Where did he
giving them
go?
more of the support on the community level would really be encouraging, because at the end of the day, they are more about community policing than enforcement. Thank you.
Oh, there it is.
Your question, Obi, as bluntly as I can state this. I do support the LSPD. I support the SHP. I support the federal operations, including the marshals and DEA. But I also don't agree with the fact that they're able to own an AR, but you aren't able to own an AR.
Absolutely.
Amen.
I've gone to ammunition
Amen
100
to that.
times, and there's only pistols and melee weapons that you can own. Your right under the Second Amendment is to own a firearm.
Rihanna
Yes,
might
there
win.
are restrictions federally, but as far as state
Right
regulation,
off of
that's
that.
completely up
Hell
to the state.
yeah, yeah.
And I agree that they should be funding stuff like that. But I also don't agree with certain statements saying that
The fuck you
are
want?
going over and not purposely
You're gonna
taking
see me
it.
at
So
my
let me
store
explain
with
how
a free
the
shotgun.
system works,
thing.
and I'll break it down for a lot of people. Anytime that you get a
Man.
citation or get arrested, it goes into a city fund. That fund then funds the police department. So realistically,
No,
your
those
Your
funds
fund,
life sentence, baby.
they make off of, they are making money off of your citations and stuff. And I have spoken to Peary, and
That's
I've
how that
spoken to Ham,
works.
and Cody at the time when he was the police chief. They're obviously not trying to push a whole referendum for pushing citations, but that isn't always true, because I heard a flip on it before. By them
Bullshit.
saying that, oh, we're not going to give people more citations, not just about a week ago, the mayor wanted to start pushing more stuff for citations. I was in the room with him. So the narrative just flipped there. And I don't agree with that. I think in general, it should be a community policing, like it should be. If
Defund the police.
crime is so bad, take care of the crime. If the citizen is, let's say, for example, speeding
morale.
10 over. Okay,
Defund Joshua Hilton.
maybe give him a break. 5 over, give him a break. We don't need to be citing people for stupid little pesky stuff. I do agree that law enforcement is important
I already
in supporting the
capped him
police
once.
department and keeping the city safe. But I also don't agree that you not having access to certain things and you not being able to, getting pulled over for absurd reasons, which that's what's going on. And I'll be straight up with it about it. But in my talk here, I kind of want to make sure that when we are having a police department in the city, or there is the SHP that is helping the LSPD or the federal agents, that at the end of the day, the citizens also, because remember, at the end of the day, police officers are citizens of the state, citizens of the city. There's no special treatment. All they are is they're sworn peace officers. They're sworn to protect and took an oath to protect the city or the state. At the end of the day, your liberty and your right to bear arms shall not be infringed. And the same thing goes with tickets and stuff. If you're going to be receiving a citation, it should be for something that you absolutely did that could put somebody's life in danger. Little pesky little stuff like that.
So, once again, it's been a moment since your question, so I just kind of recap. I believe it was about
can only look
just
through
like
pending
demilitarizing the police
city
force and ensuring
Make
the
them more
community
friendly,
freedom.
less armored, and militarized.
Yes.
So
yes,
just
thank you
ask
for the
the
refresher
devs,
there, Obi.
And
so,
ticket friendly.
Yes. So I think that one thing we want to work on,
If when a
especially
weapons
if
license
we
is
are,
given, is
of
it
course, put
logged
into office,
somewhere?
is something that we want
And
to
they
make
said
sure
no,
that
that's
there's more
Leo's
community
job.
between the police and the the citizens of Los Santos and
So,
San Andreas
I just
overall.
asked Dev,
So I mean, definitely something
if
like
it's
I spoke about
logged when
earlier
someone is given
is like the
a-
events like we had
a
previously
weapons
yesterday. I
license,
believe there was
and
San
they're
Andreas
like, no,
Highway
that's
Patrol,
Leo's
Los
job.
Santos
So
Police
I saw-
Department, and
I saw
even a
Martin
few
typing,
local
so
businesses
I
involved.
pinged
So
him,
more
and I was
things
like, I
like
saw
that
you.
provide
It's
and really
logged
show
somewhere
that,
on
like
Leo
my
End.
previous
the only log that
person
you
who
could probably
preceded
pull
me
is from
said,
invoices.
you know, that
and
these law enforcement
crap.
people are really just citizens and
Because that
civilians at
requires
the
to
end of the
search
day,
through.
you know, that are just working a job. So I think really making that clear, and we want to hear from you guys as well.
Yeah.
What makes you believe that, you know, these guys are militant and being that way? I mean, I definitely do see your side with the tickets and everything. So that's something that we'd like to work with, of course, local law enforcement agencies to see what we can do in that
Yeah.
regard. But just overall, I think that we definitely want to hear you out a little bit more, but work towards,
Because
you know,
I have
getting
a
a little bit
sworn
more community
affidavit
between everybody.
from Clementine that says Carter Starr's license was removed during his first arrest.
Where to go?
And
There it is.
during
All
his
right.
second arrest, he had
so-
a weapons license again.
Leroy believes in working with LEO on policies and having them undergo use of force training. That includes when their rifle should be present, when their pistol should be present, when their weapon should be drawn, and when they should really be issuing citations.
Hey Jones, I'm gonna head back over to the truck. I need to grab my tablet again.
Okay.
So
How could you forget the most gray-haired person up here? Oh Lord. Okay.
Alright,
anyways,
so-
to answer your question,
Sorry, we're going from
well,
left to right.
your question actually kind
several
of leads to a
things are
twofold
gonna
answer.
transpire
First one has
in
kind
this
of been
case.
hinted on
The
a little
battery
bit
might
by
be
Brianna
dropped
Rice,
to
and
a
that's the
misdemeanor
fact that if they
due
can have
to
an AR, why can't
due
you?
to it being
Full
an
transparency,
accident, but the
there's
charge
a
is
fight
staying
we have
because he
had
still
with the state
grievously
government
harmed a person.
on the equal right to bear arms, and in full transparency, we have been told
The dissuading a witness and tampering, we might drop that.
unfortunately. 100% transparency.
However, he would need to plead
And,
guilty
in terms of demilitarizing the
to
police,
the like
something that we can work
to the battery,
Like the
and the
suggestion,
weapons charge
I've
is
always
staying
agreed with the fact that
because
if
he
the
shouldn't have had because he
if you're not
somehow
being-
had a weapons
if you're not being
license. So let's
targeted
check
with a fully automatic
his
assault rifle, why are you
Carter
countering it with
Star.
an automatic assault rifle? In terms of making them more friendly,
Let's see what we get.
one of the things that I have always harped on is education
Good.
over enforcement. If you have a bad experience with a Los Santos
Oh
Police
shit! You scared the
Department
fuck out of
officer
me. I need you to know I
who
almost
appears
just
to be power
told.
hungry, appears to be scrolling through the penal code
Okay,
to see
so let's see
what kind
here.
of charges they can trump you up on.
Arrest
By all
report
means, let
is
my administration know if I'm elected.
8:37.
Let the police chief know, but also let my administration know.
Upon arrival, I
They are
observed
here to
yada
serve
yada
you,
yada. A local
not the other way
male,
around.
2 firearms,
Make
discovered
you
in 4
happy,
inches of sweaty
not
due to
the
the
other way
global
around.
system.
Thank you.
Was not functioning. However, body cams remained operational. A witness approached me, raised a concern that Mayor Starr may still possess a felony conviction. I confirmed that he had a standing 1-9 serious bodily injury, a Class C felony. I immediately escalated. Upon contact, he willingly surrendered the firearm. When informed of the felony restrictions, he was aware of his conviction, stating the charges are being contested, so until they're formally, that is not how that works. At which point I clarified that the possession remains prohibited until a formal expunction and judicial relief. The assistant chief of police gave me my firearms license, referencing Assistant Chief Jonathan.
Or no before your time is up. So 2 yeses, a yes and a no, or no and
Hey,
no.
Yeah.
This question, let me just say, nice, simple, yes and yes.
I agree with.
hey Jones.
I would agree with my.
Yeah, what's
other
up?
contestant.
We
Yes
might
and
be
yes.
arresting the assistant chief today.
Do you want me to call Mr. Wellborn down here?
No,
Like
no,
they said, we would
no,
absolutely be happy to be held accountable.
no,
We want to make
no.
sure that all of our goals are met and that all of your goals are met as well.
No,
So,
no.
absolutely.
No, fucking Christ, are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah.
And like every other candidate,
There is no
yes and
fucking
yes.
way. No fucking shot.
And I will be the combo breaker.
Like,
for
I'm-
brief explanation. The question was,
I know
would you
we're
like
supposed to
enact
be
changes in the
professional, but
state of San Andreas
what
as
the
deputy
fuck?
mayor? Unfortunately, the answer to that is no. I have tried to make changes throughout the state as deputy mayor. Carter has tried to make changes throughout the state as deputy mayor. there are several things that we can.
I think the assistant chief just heard you. Or the deputy chief, unless he's just moving his car.
No. Now, we will continue to try, and I will fight for you every single day. And the answer for the second question, will I take responsibility? Will I tuck my tail between my legs? Will I kiss my ass goodbye? If I make a mistake, yes, I will own up to it. But trust me, there will be no mistakes. The only thing that there will be is action for the city of Los Santos.
Oh, there you go. As Simon Kyle once said, you got 4 big fat yeses. I'll take, if anybody has one more question, I'll take one more question. And then we'll call it wraps.
This bitch.
Anybody else? Anyone else?
This bitch.
Yes.
Hey, baby.
Hey, hang on, Jay. What was okay?
Okay, so important.
Okay.
Everyone starts to go.
I'll let him know.
Not be at City Hall. It will be at the Mia's Bike Arena. You will see exactly where to vote down there.
Hang on.
Go
Hang on. Shut the fuck up and hang on. X-ray 7, be advised, the next vehicle robbery that comes out has consent from the owner. He's just not near it to be able to give consent. So we can disregard it.
That's all I have. Everyone, please safe home and take care. Thank you very much for coming out.
Yes.
Hey, sexy.
I love everybody.
You're still federal law enforcement, right?
Technically you're state, but technically why? What's up?
So you're, are you above the highway?
Yes.
We might have use of your. We might need you. Though we'll talk about it later in my in chambers.
Okay. How later?
Probably not today, where there is much to discuss.
Okay.
Okay, but I appreciate you.
Okay. Yep.
Love ya.
Love you too.
Thanks. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna.
You go to the courthouse. You want to meet at the courthouse?
Oh my god! Fucking. I didn't want I don't get it. I'm going back to the courthouse. Fuck this. Let me call Webby. Hold on, I'm calling Webby and see if he's around. Oh, he is.
Go.
Hey, Big Sexy, you working?
Yeah, you know that helicopter just above y'all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was me. What's up?
Just had a personal question that I'm waiting for a whole bunch of people to skedaddle away from me. Just gonna let that guy walk a little bit farther away. Hey, on a hypothetical. If someone with a felony charge on their record walked up to you and went, "Hey, can I get a weapons license?" Would you give it to him?
Fuck no.
Thanks, baby. That's all I needed.
Yeah, all right, bet.
All right, I appreciate you. You might not have a coworker much longer, but I appreciate you.
Understood.
All right, I'll see you. The doodle.
Yeah, but.
Who was that?
As Daniel.
Oh, okay.
Man, yeah, it's weird. Man, it's weird being a chief justice at this young, calling folks and just going, "What's up, Big Sexy? Hey, got a question for you." And it's the commissioner or the assistant commissioner. Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm gonna head back to the courthouse.
All right, I'll see you there in a minute.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna actually start the paperwork for a bench warrant. However, so hold 1 second. I gotta mute my stream constant mic because they're not. Go around. Just honked at me. And brother, there's so many cops in the area. I'm not running no lights today. Oh, it's you. You son of a bitch. Why your bike look like that? I'll back this sumbitch into y'all, crush your ass. So, abuse of a government position? Has that lost MC tag always been on that building back there? Yeah, so we're gonna go. So I'm gonna write it up. They're probably gonna serve it tomorrow, and it because now he's definitely keeping it. Because if he leveraged the like, that's not how that works. The charge is still on your record. Just because it's being contested and you paid off a lawyer. The weekly lottery say. Ooh.
What's up, Obi?
Oops. It was definitely green when I went through it. Okay, so let's get back to the courthouse. You stream, and then we'll we wrap this one up. Nice, neat, pretty like in a bow, yeah?
Okay.
Fuck is on the side of your bike? Fuck up. Okay, right. Woo! Swinging.
The turbo.
Oh my god. Do you not like your life or something? You just out here winging it? Oh, key dokie stream. Ooh. Kind of, sort of eventful. I mean, do we end stream or do we go inside and talk about the warrant that we're about to file for the assistant chief of police? But oh, hello? Okay. Girl, I love you so. I'm never, ever, ever gonna let you go. When she walks that way to me. Okie dokie. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Who wrote this one? Lieutenant Twink. Everybody loves Lieutenant Twink. Everybody loves Lieutenant Twink. We gotta love him. He wrote that that report. Oh. It's Bradley. Oh my motherfuck, we had a meeting today. Oh my God, Bradley!
Yeah.
We had a probable cause hearing, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, Bradley.
Oh, look. The ADA is not here. Motion to dismiss.
Is this for Whitlow?
This is for Josh Jones.
Oh, this is for 0007, right?
Yeah. That one.
All right, let's see here. If you don't mind me wearing street clothes, we can talk about it just real quick.
It's Grand Theft Auto. ADA is not here. We scheduled it. He had plenty of notice. Made no attempts to contact. It's not said a thing in their email chain.
Is this the one where the vehicle was left abandoned and we signed a warrant for it? Or am I thinking of another one? No, I think I'm thinking of Scott Taylor. Let me just read over this one.
All they have is a set of fingerprints, if I recall correctly.
Unregistered vehicle?
Yeah, I believe so.
I was able to pull a successful...
Possible stolen vehicle. Sergeant Tyler Davis and some lieutenants responded, located the black truck. Driver door was wide open, window shattered, ignition tampered with, fingerprints on the driver's seat matched to Josh Jones. While on scene, a male matching the suspect description, black hair, black jacket, black pants with a white stripe. The scene moving suspiciously in the area. I didn't know suspicion was a crime.
Judge Jones, are you reading up on this one as well?
No. What's the report number?
745. It's the only one attached to a Josh Jones. So if you search Josh Jones, it'll be probably you'll find the one. Let's see. Upon detaining and questioning him, he identified himself as Josh Jones. Then he was Mirandized. He denied involvement, claiming he was merely walking past. Then I guess they talked to someone. Fingerprints constituted probable cause for an arrest. He's arrested for attempted grand theft auto, and he was taken where he was mugshot, fingerprint, and DNA'd. I guess he was. Oh, that's nice. They reduced his sentence. I guess they entered some type of agreement because they reduced the sentence to $17.50 in fines and 15 months with 10 credited. So they jailed him for 5 months.
All they had is the vehicle, potential tampering, and a set of prints.
Yep, you got it. Apparently that equates to attempted grand theft auto.
No.
I mean, I could understand like a questioning warrant or detaining him for further questioning, but arrest?
Yeah, I don't see probable cause for a full arrest.
Yeah, I agree. It seems very like circumstantial.
And since the ADA is not here to advocate on the state's behalf, we're gonna go ahead and just rule in absentia here.
Got it. Can I also request that his fingerprints and DNA be taken out of the system, since the rest, well, mugshot too, I guess, since the rest was technically not legal or not legitimate. Since they wouldn't be in the system anyways, and given the fact he doesn't have a driver's license, only an ID card, the state wouldn't have any of that information. Actually, yeah. How did they identify him?
I think this
by
was
fingerprints.
I think this was before where it was just people in state.
Oh, okay. Well, then the request still stands.
Okay, his charges
Since
are off now.
I mean, it's reasonable to remove the DNA and fingerprints from a record.
I can live with the mugshot being there if I have to concede on something. But I think with how the state has reorganized itself, I think the fingerprints and DNA removal is more than warranted, as the state wouldn't normally have that. If he had a driver's license, then I wouldn't be contesting it, or at least I wouldn't contest the fingerprints. The DNA I would still contest. You want an official motion, or are you good with just this?
I'm just gonna rule an abstention, take it off here if I can.
I took it off of him.
Did you take it off of
name.
the charge or get rid of it at all?
I took it off of his name, not the charge.
Okay,
Because they had it under his notes under.
And then I always say if we can reimburse the $17.50, that we appreciate it too.
Was this a PD arrest or was it HP?
Sergeant Tyler Davis would be HP.
okay, all handled. One sec.
You want me to handle the money?
Well, let me at least call and make sure they're ready for it.
Yo.
Hey, Big Sexy.
What's up, brother?
You got $20?
Yeah, I do have $20. What's up?
Well, if you got $20, you got $2,000 I can borrow. Well, borrow half. I'm gonna take it from you.
Oh, why is that? What did we lose this time?
Probable cause hearing on one of your arrests, not yours, one of your sergeants. We found is that there was no probable cause, so we're just gonna return the fines and drop the charges.
Which arrest is this?
745.
Fuck. Give me 2 seconds.
Brother, are you still flying?
No, I'm in the gym right now.
Which
you
gym?
gotta keep these gains up, brother. The main gym, 663.
Oh, City Gym?
Yeah, City Gym.
Tell Sandra at the front desk I said, hey.
Okay.
Gym.
You said what? What was the number?
745. It was a Grand Theft Auto. All they had was prints and potential tampering on the ignition site of the vehicle, but that's all they had.
Was the person driving at the time or no?
Nope.
Okay, so they just found the vehicle that was tampered with, and then they found the prints of the person.
Yeah.
Is he the owner of the vehicle?
Nope. Vehicle is unregistered.
And they don't have any CCTV footage or anything?
Nothing like that.
And he didn't admit to anything?
And he ain't admit to shit.
Oh. It's definitely reasonable suspicion, but that would be a stretch for PC.
Yeah. Not enough for a full-blown arrest.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just 2,000. You got it. Them pockets.
Yeah,
I
I just hate losing cases without having a fucking trial.
I mean,
Did he challenge the charges, or is this just the DA dropped him?
This is him challenging the GE charges.
Okay.
And we had a kinda had a probable cause hearing. The mayoral rally ran a little late, and we were discussing signing a bench warrant today. So we're I'm a little all over the place. I walked in this bitch in gym clothes. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
Like Bradley Ado here is all nice and fancy dressed, and Alicia Justice Jones is nice and dressed. Brother, I'm wearing sneakers and like basketball shorts.
Hey, respect the fit though, because shorts and the sneakers, that's you just gotta throw the robe over, you know what I mean?
True. It's true.
Shut up. You got
Hey,
$2,000.
for what it's worth, we were at least on time for the hearing.
All right. Yeah. All right. I appreciate it. We're gonna
Yeah.
go and process it here shortly.
Just make sure you send an email about it, please.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, bye.
All right. Deputy Commissioner Wellborn is ready for the removal. We're just gonna send an email about it just real quickly.
Am I taking it from him, or do you want me to take it from
Take
the
it.
commissioner?
Take it from him. I don't want the commissioner calling me. I'm
Fair
gonna
enough.
lose it.
Yeah.
Where the hell is the
All
email
right,
app
well,
on this phone?
mail.
Oh, there it is. I couldn't find it for a second. I was having a little stroke. I don't know where it was. 1750. Just charges. Because they reduced it when they charged them. They did in the court case. Yeah.
Alrighty. Anything else for me?
No, because you're a public defender. I mean, hypothetical, right? You got time for a hypothetical?
Yeah.
So, say your client was charged with battery, right? And he caused serious bodily injury to said person. The state chose to pursue charges upon the victim's behalf, and by the what has come out is that it was kind of like a playful slap that turned bad because the individual tripped and hurt themselves, but the slap caused them to trip, right?
Yeah.
If we offered your client a step down from the felony to a misdemeanor because it still caused serious bodily harm, would you take it? Class C felony to a Class C misdemeanor.
I mean, it depends on what the state had, to be honest with you. But if they had something, probably I would take it.
Consider the state has damning evidence that he did commit it. It was like,
Well, assuming there's no mutual combat.
not mutual combat.
Yeah, then I would probably take it. But
Yeah, it was it was a playful slap to where your client did not fully grasp
what?
their
Wait,
their
you
own
said it was
strength.
what?
A playful slap.
No. What charge was it? You knocked it
Battery.
down to? Battery.
So they charged it as a Class C felony, and we drop it down to a Class C misdemeanor. Am I looking at that right?
All right, that's done.
Sweet. Oh shit! I got an email. Well, oh.
Yeah, I probably would take it. But I mean, people are weird.
Incident.
Since we were talking about Whitlow, still got those 3 motions waiting for you on too.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards dismissing the charges as a whole. And
Hey, I got a motion to dismiss on there.
yeah, I know.
For those stuff, so
I was reading through it earlier.
I'm more interested in the contempt motion I filed. First one I've had to file. What? I'm not AF. Flipping emails.
All right, so email sent to Highway, so Daniel can at least get the money back. Glad that he's been our our point of contact. He's much more amenable. All right, let's see here. Oh boy, you just love to give me paperwork, don't you?
You know if Bo's gonna make his whatever hearing he wants?
No.
No. Okay.
Not
I mean,
that
he can do it out. He
don't
can do it
know.
after you rule.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
not happening.
I
we
mean,
provided a ruling and the clarification on the matter.
yeah, but he's allowed to challenge your order to higher justices.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm it.
Well, he can put it before the whole panel, even if you're sitting on it.
He did. Me and Jones talked about it. We read over it. We talked about it.
Fair enough.
Like, we talked about it before we put it in. His conversations were had.
Fair enough. Probably claim ex parte some nonsense from me, but anyways. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll just wait for all that. And I don't know. Harvey said he was interested in getting in on this Whitlow case, so.
Oh yeah, he's got an shit. We meant to talk to him.
Meant to what?
I meant to talk to him. We were gonna offer his client a plea. While our sister state, the judges don't get involved in pretrial negotiations. Unfortunately, due to our lack of lawyers, that on his particular case would constitute a conflict of interest, we had determined is that when opposing counsel is not available, judges can partake in pretrial negotiations in the extreme moments. Because we may be lacking on a little bit of manpower here, and some of our DAs, Atlas, Zane, are kind of can never seem to get them on the phone. Oh, but hey, do you got a moment for a private for a private meeting in as soon as I get changed here?
For what?
Just gotta run something by you.
Okay, sure.
All right, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna end my stream and be like, "Hey, can you pop in here?" All right. Let me get the. Bum 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 da ba da ba ba da ba da ba. Bum bum ba da ba rum bum 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 ba dum bum ba ba da. Okay, thanks for coming out to this pretty impromptu stream for the mayoral rally. I felt that it would be kind of cool to have it on record and see what's going on and all this, that, and this, that, and the other, and see who's running and see what the current topics on the debate table are. I appreciate those who did come out and chatting with me. It was a good time. It was a great time. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. But I will see you all in the next stream when maybe it's not this fluffing hot outside. I'm not just over here sweating balls, and we'll do something fun. But thank you all for coming out. So to all you bitches, bros, and non-binary hoes, I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.